What's going on, guys? It's Matt Hansen here. I am the admin of New England Bowling. Happy to be back. I know I've been taking a little break from the page, and I put some thought into it. Taking a little break. I think with the move coming up to Oklahoma, especially, I'm kind of gonna pivot towards doing this part time and just posting when I feel like it, posting the content I want to post. I know I was trying to expand the page for a while, and I'd still love to, but taking a backseat to some other things in my life, and that's all fine and well. But I really wanted to make a podcast. Never got around to it. And I thought with NEBA yesterday over at Nutmeg Bowl in Eastern Connecticut over there, um, it'll be a great time to review the tournament yesterday. Obviously, you got Michael Martell winning his first NEBA title, long overdue, beating Colby Hagemoser. You also had a nice semifinals matchup with, Andrew Hall, Bill Webb, and we got two PBA guys in Martell and Andrew Hall. You got Colby Hagemoser, who seems like he's destined for the tour in the next few years here. Whether it's his personal choice not to go out just yet. I mean, it seems as though he has the raw talent. He just has to develop the tools, the versatility, the consistency to be one of the best in the world. And I know I'm not alone in the sentiment that he could do that in the next few years here. So that's three PBA guys out of four, and then you got Bill Webb, who could have gone pro and just it was his personal choice. He stuck with NEBA, won 20 NEBAs, maybe 21, something like that. That's for professional level bowlers. And perhaps the eliminator style format really makes the cream of the crop rise to the top. Really like that match play format. It was a fun tournament. Once it got down to the nitty gritty, you know, it was cool to see. The best guys rise to the top, and Martell comes out on top. So let's get started with the 6 p.m. squad. Brandon Robertson led. I mean, after everything you saw happen with Brandon Robertson recently, it's just great to see him, get into form. You remember he shot an 880 in match play a few months ago at a NEBA. Chris Forey, proprietor of Buddy's Pro Shop, multi-million-dollar pro shop, based out of Nutmeg Bowl. And he obviously put a lot into the prize fund for this event, as well as the Forey Cup. But, great ambassador for NEBA. Always good to see him doing well. He did make the cut. And then Steve Blanchette, Tommy Grunwald. I'll be frank, I don't know a whole lot about them, but for them to be as consistent as they were on this pattern, I mean, you see Tommy in particular popping off with high game for the fifth game of the squad at 260. That's impressive. You got Peter Fox, another professional. He was even. And as somebody who, not to make it about myself, but I know what Peter Fox went through. He started at 18 years old. I started at 20. Haven't found the success Peter has, but I know firsthand just how incredible it is. Most of us, in the bowling community, most guys start at 5 or 10 years old, if not earlier. It's crazy that you get a freak athlete like that who just picks up the sport at 18 years old and literally 5-6 years later he's one of the best in the world. So I've always admired Peter and looked up to him a lot. I'm sure I'm not alone in that sentiment. Anyway, he was even. Who else we got? Brockett. I know Brockett re-entered and made it. Frank Fuller, same thing. A lot of these scores were really low on the first squad. If anyone who bowled it has any comments about it, I frankly don't know if they were playing a little different that night. But yeah, these scores are super low. You got Bruce Hall. You got a couple of really high-level guys. Gary Kerensky being another one. Just really couldn't seem to get anything going. A lot of low games. And it just looked rough. It really did. But that was the lowest cut out of all the squads. Now we go to 9 a.m. Bill Webb doing what Bill Webb does. It's really impressive how that man, most of us have an A game, which, won't make cuts. We have a few B games where we can squeak in. I mean, this man just doesn't even, he said it himself in my interview with him. If you guys haven't watched that, you should definitely check it out. That man doesn't have an A game. Just has a B game. He can, reinvent himself every single week, and it shows. I mean, 270 game one. I mean, the only people I saw shooting 270s were him and Joey Acello, and then Colby Hagemoser. Dennis got a 290 as well. But to shoot 270 plus, even at all on this shot, I mean, it's, if you have the look, it's there, but you're still gonna make the shots. And when you have such a little margin for error, that is super impressive. So Bill Webb going 270, 190, 240, 230. Even with a 150, he led the squad. You got Joey Acello, Jason Cornog, Andrew Hall making it off that squad. Michael Martell, eventual champion, made it off that squad. Matthew Brockett, Scott Kampf, Jesse Gibson, Jay Matthew, Colby Hagemoser, who made it to the title match, Tommy Sachs, and Tom Solomine. Gary Haynes, I believe did he make the at-large? Guess we'll find out later in the podcast. But I know Randy made it. Did Randy make it off the squad or nope? So if Randy made it off that squad, which he did, that means Gary Haynes made it in as well. Viali made it. Dennis only goes 3 over, but then he re-entered, and as you'll see, he whacks it. Then RJ Bros, Tyler Siddell, Scott Widmer, Frank Picard, they didn't quite get in. But yeah, that's all you really got to say about the 9 a.m. squad. Andrew Hall and Michael Martell averaging 216 and 215. Sounds about right for them. I mean, you see them in a lot of these PTQ events if you're looking at the scores in the PBA each week. And frankly, that's about where the PBA cut would be in an event like this. You got the best in the world all under one roof. Obviously the cut for NEBA was in the low 2-0s for this event. The field is not as stacked. But you see them making some PGQ cuts, and it's always on patterns like Wolf, and they're very accustomed to it. So I found it interesting, their ability to adapt. And, once they figured it out, I mean, they really got going. You see Andrew, his low game was 170. Martell only shot 170, as well as 252s back-to-back. I mean, goddamn. I'd say Andrew had the more consistent block, but Martell popping off for 250s like that, I mean, sheesh. Those guys are the best in the world for a reason, and they've certainly got their game to a level where it's hard to beat them because they can go 70 over on everything. If you give them enough games, they start getting into rhythm and they go plus a few dozen, and it's hard to keep up with that. A lot of guys will do what I did. You'll see later in the block at 12:30. You miss spares, you lose your luck, you leave a lot of splits, and that's all she wrote. I mean, you got to leave makeables, and you got to pry off enough strikes to go 2-teen in a lot of games. And it sounds easy, but then you actually get out there, try to do it, try to replicate what these pros are doing, like Martell and Andrew Hall, and it's tough, it's brutal. And anyone who bowled knows that. Now we got 12:30, which I can speak the most on because I bowled. Again, Matt Hansen, you'll see me a little bit further down, but we got Bissonnette. Bissonnette, I thought he was going to shoot 800. 258, 290 to start off. And side note, anyone who knows Bissonnette, he's currently injured with an eye injury. And, he was talking about not even bowling this event. He was, didn't even know if he was going to get out of bed. You can't look at anything right now. I don't want to say too much about the situation. Dennis, if you want to, that's on you. But I was like, damn, he's even showing up to this thing, and then he just whacks it. I mean, the level of talent you have to have. Like, I know a lot of people already say what they will about Dennis. Everyone's already impressed by him. But this shows me, just how warranted it is. I mean, I'm not trying to suck up to him, but when you're not at your best on a pattern like this, you're just happy to go plus. This man starts out 258, 290. I know he coasted through the rest of the block, but all he needed was those first 2 games, and he led the squad by a large margin. And that is wow, that's impressive. I know he had a rough time in match play, but even so, 258, 290 when no one else was even remotely close. I mean, I know I saw that, and a lot of you guys probably did as well, and that's super impressive there. So AJ Villa, that's another guy. He cashed at a major this year. Was it the U.S. Open or the Masters? Had to be the Masters, yeah. The funny thing about AJ, you'll notice, where is AJ? God damn. Minus 166 the first squad, 139, 101. He was in last place after 2 games. Then he finds a look and goes even for the last 3 games, AJ Villa. And then he just comes back and goes from a 101 Tom Doherty style game to going, ironically, 101 over. 258, 201. Bro, he averaged 220 even with a 139 in the second squad because he had 250, 230, 260. I mean, that man, if you're a two-hander, like him and Colby are like, oh, man, they just do everything you do and do it better. They're more versatile. They're more consistent. and it shows. I mean, the amount of work they put in their game, and not just practicing a lot, but practicing the right things to get to that level over years and years and years. I mean, they have gotten to a point where it is very hard to beat them because on the tough stuff they can just get it together, immediately see when their ball motion is a little bit off or there's an errant shot, in any way, shape, or form, and then they get back on the strike train. And no, it's impressive. It really is. So AJ Villa plus 101 with a 139 in there. You got Brandon Whitney, Paul Bajorski, really good lefty. Noah Action, that's a name I hadn't heard, but he throws it really good. Was making all the right adjustments. So shout out to him. Tyler Hearn, another good two-hander. Mike Rubin. Who else we got? Oh yeah, Aaron Major. I mean, Major, when he has his look going straight up, I know on house shot he's a very versatile guy, can cover all 40 boards if he needs to on a house shot. But on this sports shot, I mean, he always seems to make that look up the gutter work. It's like him and him and Rich. I was gonna call him Haas. Those two guys. That is their bread and butter, and it's amazing how they impose their A game on a pattern. That is really the mark of a truly good player. Imposing their A game like that, and they certainly do. And he throws it a million miles an hour and never gets it. He rarely gets splits. He rarely gets it anywhere except for left of the headpin. So crazy what Aaron Major does, as we all know. And a pretty consistent block for him as well. All the games are between 180 and 230, 3 out of 5 above 200. He finishes 16 over. Who else we got? Jeremy Hartbarger. Did Lewis make it? I'm not sure. Frank Fuller. I don't know if Frank made it. I believe. Well, I think in this squad, if you went plus, you made it. So Lewis and Frank probably made the at-large. I remember talking to Michael, and he said he had a tough go of it with a stone 9 or stone 8 or something, and barely missed the cut. That sucks. He's really talented. Damn, and that was 230 that last game. I actually did not know that. So he missed it. NEBA champ Ryan Shiradio out of Westerly Rhode Island. He missed it, and then everyone else did as well. I know Stephen Major said he got a little anxious there at the end, but we all know how talented he is, and when it's just not your day, it's not your day. I mean, it looks like he had one big game, and the rest of them he was just grinding, just couldn't figure it out. But that's not to take away from how good he is. He always, as he'll tell you, it's just about matching up to the environment, and it looks like his good pair just wasn't quite good enough, but pretty good day for Steven as well. Who else we got? Looks like Amanda Brose made the women's cut. Bruce Hall made the super senior cut. Hi Andrew. Let's see who else we got. Adam Chase, PBA regional champion. I was right next to him. Great guy. And who's this handsome fella? Matt Hansen. It's my podcast. I'll do what I want to. I'm going to talk about my day a little bit. So you'll see I started out 188, 177, 167. After that first game, I was thinking, okay, 180 won't kill you. 170, I was starting to think, okay, I'll probably go minus today, but I want to get it together a little bit. That 160 kind of disappointed me. That should have been 180, 190. Had a little split there. Didn't maintain the pocket as well as I wanted to. I was playing 10-5 with urethane. Unlike most two-handers, my A game is going 10-5 with urethane, which normally matches up on a pattern like this, but you got to be consistent, and you got to see the transition when it happens. Full disclosure, I only started bowling 4 years ago, so sometimes I'm not up to speed on these moves like a lot of those other guys up there, as you'll find. But nonetheless, 200, but honestly, that should have been 250. I was talking to Andrew Hall about it, and had 250, and then I got 2 splits in a row. And that was all she wrote. Granted, I was 200 that game. Felt good to go even for one game. And then 180. I mean, it was a grind, man. I'm still getting used to Sports Shot. And I've averaged 2 teams on Sports Shot on a good day, but I just got to get more consistent. Fully aware of that. I beat Viali. I beat Viali. That's a first. Kieran Reeve Patel. That's another good two-hander. Watch out for him in the next few years. Becker, good lefty. But just didn't find the look. Same with Haas, Mike Litzstein. He didn't break 200, but he was throwing it good. But there's no style points in bowling on this stuff, and I have no room to talk on Litchie's game, so I guess I'll just shut up. And it's surprising to see guys like him, Jay Johnson, really good bowlers that are just so versatile. Like they were tough. And I think pair to pair it broke down really tough. Um, and you saw the result. I mean, sometimes you get unlucky with your crosses, or speaking of this guy, Dennis, we were having a conversation. You still got to make the shots, but still, there's something to be said for. Whenever those guys are going minus 100, those multiple time NEBA champions are going minus 100. That's when um, it's not to take away from their bowling ability, and oh, hold up. Yeah, it's not to take away from their bowling ability, but you know, it'd be like that. Some days it'd be like that. So let's hop into match play. Kobe Hagemoser front nine, 279 here. Noah Action also whacked at 262. He had a good look. And then everyone else was under 240, but still some really solid scores. You got Lewis, Armando, Jesse, Tyler Hearn. Michael Martell grinded out 2 teams. Same with Jay Matthew. Really good lefty. He'll win a lot of titles, as we all know. Excuse me. And then, looks like 192 was the cut here. Obviously, Andrew Hall beats Aaron Major in the roll-off and makes it through. And some of these scores, it was brutal. If you weren't matched up, obviously it was easy to leave splits and multi-pin spares that are not as easy to make. And, if you didn't maintain the pocket, games can really get away from you. And as you see with all these really good bowlers putting up those scores, that's very palpable. So, round of 16, we got Andrew Hall bouncing back from barely making it through in the first round, shoot 260. Same with Bill Webb. Viali got in, and he crushed it. Martell was starting to heat up a little bit. Well, actually, no, because he shot 2-team the last game before that. But he got through with a 2-team. Kobe barely making it, 191. He still made it to the championship match, though. Got his shit together. Pardon my French. And then you see guys like AJ and Noah who had a really good luck, and then pair to pair, they just they got screwed. Round of 8, this is fun to watch. Andrew, Kobe, Bill, and Michael Martell. How can I forget him? They all make it through. 188 was the cut. That seems to be the cut in a lot of these rounds. Tyler Hearn barely missing out. Same with Viali. He was just one miss away, as was Jesse Gibson, who he's throwing it really good lately as well. Then final 4, low scores from here on out, really. I don't know if it was lane breakdown or just some of the pairs, but Martell and Andrew Hall. Martell and Kobe obviously edged it out. Andrew barely stumped out by 6 pins, and Bill Webb struggled for once. And then Michael beats Kobe pretty handily, but not to take away from how good either of them bowled. So, yeah, fun little event. Good to see a guy like Michael. Let me tell you something about Michael. Not that everyone doesn't already know it, but the way he's been popping off, making a show at a major. He played Kyle Sherman in the championship at, I believe it was the U.S. Open last year. Came in second place. And then this year, he played Packy on television just a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like 8 or 9 days before this, something like that. Then he went to league and shot like 850, and then came out here and obviously won his first NEBA, so he's really throwing the rock really well. New Jersey guy. It will be nice to see him come out a little bit more because it's fun to watch him bowl and just see how good he is, as well as all these other pros. You got the Andrew Halls. I know Brian Bourget struggled, but it's fun to watch him bowl as well, the way he's whacking it. When Van Hees does make it out, John Van Hees, it's fun to watch him, as well as Litchie and Bill Webb and Aguiar and all these guys who obviously could have, I believe, won multiple titles. And I've had conversations with a lot of NEBA Hall of Famers. They feel the same way. What else was I going to say? I don't know, man. Those are my thoughts on NEBA. If anyone wants to join me in doing this podcast, that would be so fun. Again, I'm just trying to make content I enjoy. And if you've been making this far, I appreciate you listening. But that's like a side quest at this point. I'm just trying to make fun content. If people like it, so be it. I'm just having fun. And if anyone feels the same way and wants to join in, send me a message. It'll be fun to make a podcast together. 2 heads are better than one, and probably twice as good to listen to. So, yeah, first of hopefully many podcasts. And if you guys have any topics you want to hear about here on the New England Bowling Podcast, hit my line and we'll make it happen. So, congrats to Michael Martell. Um, thank you for Chris Forey for advocating for this event, making it happen, as well as the NEBA board. We continue to put on great events. Looks like the next one they're going to have is in Rutland. I believe it's the third week into May. And hell, that's pretty far, but I'm still going to make it up. Yeah, and you guys should too. So, signing off for now. New England Bowling Podcast. Hopefully, we make a lot more episodes. And I've been Matt Hansen. Peace.